Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Thomas. Today we're back here with Puppet History. Today, Sara Rubin's joining us for the story of the Doomed Castaways of the HMS Wager. I think that's how you say it, right? I don't know. So, yep, we got a shipwreck story, so you know the drill. Just gonna keep this on standby and answer it on my own. Let me know how you guys did. Let's get going. Be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoy. Here we go.
Welcome one and all to Puppet History.
Today
we'll be taking an ever-wondering look at yet another chapter in the heavy book we call History, while our guests ruthlessly compete for the coveted capsules and title of History Wizard. Oh, Ryan Bergara! Are you ready?
I was in the middle of a burp, and then I got startled by the curtain, and it got stuck.
Oh, the incomparable Sara Rubin! Are you
Hi,
ready?
Sarah. Welcome
I'm
back.
So ready. Have you been working out, Professor?
Yeah.
You look good.
Maybe a little bit.
You look juiced. You look beef.
I think that
beefy.
jacket's just too small.
Well,
We'll
then
see.
let's
crack in.
in.
Here we go. Back in the meeting. Oh boy.
Is that a giant vat of molasses?
Oh. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
It's just a, boys project that me and Ryan are working on.
Nah, just something we do after hours.
Yeah, we have a little fun around here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Alright.
I'm involving
Let's
you.
get into the lesson, huh? Now, to begin, you ever go on a trip with your friends only for the whole thing to end up in disaster? Travel delays, gross group rentals, and you can't even agree on what to do?
Honestly, my trips have been pretty smooth. Like,
Not there yet.
well,
yeah,
I'll
I
say.
haven't had a ton of. Do you ever
That's
have?
all I'm gonna
I've
say.
travel
Okay?
delays. I was stuck at an airport for about 24 hours. But that was like,
Yikes.
whatever. It was fine. The air conditioning broke, though, and then all of, the airport had water on the floor because of the humidity in the air, and people were slipping and stuff.
Sometimes I feel like misery
Woof.
follows you wherever you go.
He's a misery magnet. Well, all right.
Okay, I'll be honest. I think I said this before, but yeah, that kind of happened to us at one point. We were on our way back from Mexico. Through the snowstorms here, we got stuck. Yeah. Basically, we were stuck in Mexico for an extra night. So, oops. I mean, other than that, that's pretty much my only travel woe. But hopefully, I don't know if we'll run into that again, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, moving along.
Our story today features a group trip that went about as awry as it could.
Oh,
Today, we're talking about the Wager Mutiny.
Oh, Wager.
Cool.
HMS
Okay, so
Wager.
ships-
Okay. I thought it was
ships.
Wager.
Ships are
okay,
on
but
deck.
there's no
Yeah.
And a
end.
wager.
Sorry.
This is name probably.
Oh,
The
I
ship
thought
was
there'd be a
called-
fun little bet going on, like who's gonna die first, kind of thing, or like how long are we gonna?
I'm
live?
not
We all
curious
die,
to see
kinda
who's
thing.
why they
Do you want to
mutinied.
put a bet on when we'll die?
Okay.
Oh, out of the three of us?
Grim.
I feel like
Yeah,
either
pretty
you
grim.
have like the
Pretty
lifespan of a
grim.
dog, where
Yeah.
it's like 15 years, but every year feels like 20,
Right.
or you're gonna live for like 3,000 years.
He's like eternal.
Yeah, you're like an eternal being.
Every year for me is about like 0.035 human years.
Oh, so you're like
my
the people
gosh.
on that ship in
boy.
Interstellar.
I'm like the
Good stuff.
elves in Lord of the Rings.
I think you outlive me. I assume
we'll
you
see
probably
what's-
eat better than me. You
I
probably get
do.
better
I
sleep.
definitely like drink less.
Yeah.
Not
It's
that it's a judgment on you, but
Hey.
just I know for a fact
Oi.
I drink less.
I think that's a good assumption.
Well, in
Yeah.
the middle of the
Here
1700s,
we go.
Spain was caught up in that favorite hobby of governments everywhere, colonizing. The Spanish
Oh,
were
boy.
the dominant dominator in South America and basically the only heroes on the eastern shores of the Pacific Ocean. England, meanwhile, was somewhat of a colonizer itself. And like two horrible
Oh, boy.
boys arguing over a cupcake
Wait.
that isn't theirs to begin with, they started fighting over who could steal what land from whom. Between 1739 and 1748,
Hey, what the hell?
two countries had themselves a war, fought
Yeah,
not
the
in
7
the
Years' War.
homeland, but in their interests abroad.
Every time I come on here, it's talking about colonizing.
Oh yeah, I mean, we here at Puppet History do not
I'll
endorse
see Kate
colonizing.
Peterman and back.
Cool. That's another strong stance to take.
Very strong in this political climate.
I can't believe you'd be so bold.
To disrupt the Spanish trans-Pacific trade, in September of 1740, England dispatched Commodore George Anson to
hi,
lead a
Anson.
squadron of 6 warships to sail around the tip of South America and generally
tip
fuck
of
some
us.
Spanish shit up. You know, crowd the lane, no easy buckets. Are these basketball terms working for you there, Ryan?
No easy buckets.
Eh.
No easy buckets is something that I say every time I block somebody.
From getting the
Really?
ball in the net.
You ever get
I don't know. I don't play basketball.
I go, no easy buckets.
No, it's about
My
you,
lane.
boy.
My
So
lane.
are you
Sorry, I
on
had to say
platform
it.
shoes when you do that?
No, I could
Oh,
jump
boy.
really high. Actually.
Prove it.
Prove it
You
right
want me
now.
to prove it right
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
How?
How am I
Touch
gonna
the
prove?
ceiling.
Touch the ceiling.
Touch the ceiling
right.
like you're a nerd.
I just did it.
Whoa!
It was so
Wow.
quick the
He's
camera,
so
the camera didn't even catch it.
Well, by
Sure
the
they
time
say
the
that.
squadron made it to
Oh.
the tip of South America, things were looking bleak. Brits were dying left and right of scurvy, and on board one of the glorified supply ships, the HMS Wager, there were only a few able-bodied men left to navigate the Strait of Magellan, fighting high seas and fierce winds. Add to that the fact that the Wager was in bad shape, not having been built for this kind of voyage. There weren't reliable charts for the waters that they were navigating, and the Wager's original captain had died on the journey over. And this was the first time the new captain, David Cheap,
Oh,
had
boy.
been in command of a large vessel.
There's a lot of red
Ooh,
flags.
boy.
here.
Yeah, no
Number one, you're naming
kidding.
your ship Wager.
Yeah.
HMS Fingers Crossed.
Yeah, even I was like, okay, they're screwed. I'm actually curious to see what's going to happen. But, well, I guess we'll have to wait, because we got our first question of the season finale, so let's see what's up.
Ooh, a
Here we go, what's up?
question. Starting out with a bit of a lob here, what,
Hey, what
happened to the HMS Wager?
Like at the
A,
end, or what's
it
up?
wrecked off the coast of modern-day Chile. B, it sank to the bottom of the ocean. Or C, it was the only boat in Anson's squadron to make it through the Strait of Magellan. Oh, are you both already?
Yeah, I'm
locked
gonna.
in?
I'm locked in.
I've got my answer.
Yeah, might as well.
Okay, Ryan, what do you got?
I put C.
C.
Cheap, good.
Cheap good?
Probably.
I put C because the
Wow,
story
everyone
was
went
called
C.
The Wager.
C dogs.
That's also
And so
why.
I figured the
Yeah.
boat would be around for a bit longer. in
It'd
the
be
story.
weird.
See, we'll see. I'm curious if it actually does
What's
make.
up?
Huh? Hmm?
Oh God.
It's Sea Dogs!
Oh, hey!
Hey.
Oh, it's Sea Dogs for our finale here, that's fun.
Oh.
Very
Welcome
good.
back.
We always have fun when we
Oh,
do
we love
that.
to have fun.
Points for neither of you!
Oh, what?
But I'm gonna give a jelly bean for a little drawing. Way to go.
Aw.
Right, it's as simple as that.
So
You
it did
sometimes just
sink,
gotta do a little
okay.
drawing. I don't know
So
how
it
many
didn't make
times I have
it.
to tell
So
you.
it got
I'm
wrecked?
not going to conform to your rules.
Gotta be wrecked, isn't it?
Yeah, it crashed. On May 13th, 1741, the Wager had entered a large, uncharted bay as a hurricane pummeled the ship. The 12 men fit for duty, yes, 12, less than 10% of the men on board, tried to keep the boat afloat. Captain Cheap, the clumsy oaf, fell down the quarterdeck ladder and dislocated his shoulder, meaning he had to captain from below deck.
Was
Yikes.
everybody else just sort
Oh,
of
this is
like
just mayhem
hurling
now.
their guts in the brig? Like,
Yeah, like
Oh.
between just injury and malnutrition and scurvy, they
Sailing.
weren't having a good
Not
time.
an easy gig
I'd
back
be
then.
so sick to go back in time with like a jet ski and just zoom right by these guys. They'd be like, "Who's that demon?"
Yeah,
would
pretty
have
much
to work
sounds about
on
right.
I'd have like some of those cool like Oakleys.
Sure.
so let me get this straight. You get one chance to go back in time, do anything you want. You want to drive a jet ski around and make people confused.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love it. The sparse crew tried to convince him to let them turn the boat around, but Cheap had been given orders to meet up with the rest of Anson's fleet, and he didn't want to be late on one of his first days on the job.
Woof.
On May 14th at 4:30 a.m., the Wager struck some rocks, broke its tiller, and began to flood. Some stuck below deck immediately drowned. And then the situation stabilized. The boat was well and truly stuck, which meant
Oh.
they couldn't sail anywhere. The masts of the ship were gone by this point anyways, but it also meant they couldn't sink. To celebrate the fact that they were no longer at immediate risk of drowning, some men broke into the supplies, got rip-roaring drunk, and played dress-up with some of the officers' clothing.
Why?
Very funny.
So this is kind of an interesting, the ship didn't sink. It's just sort of stranded here on these rocks and can't go anywhere now.
Kind of the main thing you want a ship to do is move,
Is
though.
move,
So,
Oops.
and there was no like escaped little shippies.
Oh,
No,
so there
no
were-
lifeboats.
We'll get into that.
Okay.
All right.
Nice.
Cool, cool, cool.
Now the majority of
Yeah, even I would have been like, okay, well, we're stuck. Anyone see land? Oh, there it is. All right, man the lifeboats. Let's get out of here. Jeez. Yeah, this ain't gonna end well. The Wager mutiny, huh? Well, I think it's about to happen on land now. I wonder how far they are from England. Well, actually, now I think about it, I'm not even sure modern day Chile's being occupied at that point. But anyway, let's see it.
of the crew hopped into the small boats and rowed to land. There, they found an abandoned indigenous hut, which Captain Cheap immediately claimed as his own.
Fine.
That first night, the only food they had was a sack of biscuit dust, which was combined with water and a seagull someone killed to make a delicious bisque.
Obviously, this is a dire situation, but biscuit dust sounds pretty good.
Plus
I never had
seagull
it.
blood, I guess?
I don't know about that part. But
I hope they
biscuit dust,
drained
sign
the
me up.
blood
I
out
mean,
of
I
that
like that
one,
they
but
were like, it's not a
yikes.
soup, it's a bisque.
Beautiful bisque. Unfortunately, in the midst of the hurricane, it turns out the biscuit dust had been mixed in with tobacco, and those who had the soup became violently ill.
That sucks.
Over the
whoops.
next few
This
days,
is why you
the
gotta check.
150 or so members of the crew rowed back and forth to the deteriorating wreck, salvaging what supplies they could. They also began scouring the coast for food, finding some sea critters and celery, which, it turns out, cured their scurvy. Good to know, Ryan. Vegetables, they help.
Very
I'd rather
good.
die.
You don't eat vegetables?
I'm trying to cut back on them.
What? Who's trying to cut back?
I'm
So
just.
you're
You
trying
got
to
me.
cut
This
back
is
on
off,
got
this
me.
is off my doctor's orders. I'm trying to cut back on my veggies.
The doctor literally said you shouldn't eat many vegetables?
No, of course not.
I don't know what's up with you. You could be full of worms for all I know.
That sounds. What do you think? I'm Oogie Boogie from the Nightmare Before
I
Christmas?
don't
I have a
blame
giant
Probably.
wheel at my house that just like whatever it lands on, that's what I
I
eat
don't
at
know.
night.
Whatever you do in your own time is your business.
That would be pretty fucking sweet though. If I had a giant wheel. And I was like, tonight I'm eating popcorn. Hooray!
I thought maybe your vitamins were too high.
That was
I
a
have
thing.
started taking a multivitamin.
That's
Oh,
good.
God.
I guess, do what you can.
Eh, to each your own.
Unfortunately, searching for food was a demoralizing task, as the drowned and bloated bodies of so many former co-workers were bobbing about in the decks of the Wager or lapping up to shore where the survivors were huddled. How horrifying!
People die?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, you left
yeah, that
that.
does
Yeah, a lot of
sound
people
like
died.
panic
How many
worthy. Like,
They drowned
shit.
when the ship. They drowned
Jeez.
when the ship went down a little
Yeah,
bit.
This is a historical
God.
recollection here. I doubt in the history book it says a bunch of people died.
Bunch of guys died. Well, eventually some locals appeared in
Oh.
canoes. The Wager boys
Thank
got a
you.
few sheep from them, but after a bit of exploring, their situation became clear. They were not actually wrecked on the mainland, but on an island without any real way off. The boats they still had, 3 small exploratory boats, weren't big enough to continue sailing, and they didn't have the tools needed to build a bigger one. With all this information,
Yeah,
Chief
time to go back.
decided there was only one thing to do.
that being. Oh, here we go.
What is that? A. Die. B. Try to convince the natives to accept them amongst themselves. Or C. Build a little town. There we go.
Colony?
I put C.
Yeah,
I
colony.
didn't ask for your answer yet.
I drew a picture though. There's the little town.
Yeah, but this is a disingenuous drawing now that you know that you can get a jelly bean
That's
for
not
it.
true. That's not
It's
true.
not
Look
coming
at,
said
from
that.
a true
Jesus
place.
look at
Christ.
the level of detail on
definitely-
this house. It's almost
yeah,
like you can
definitely,
walk into it.
definitely
You told me
understand.
you would never draw one of those because you didn't want to follow my little rules.
Hey, people can change.
Oh, that's sweet. Sarah, what'd you put?
There we go.
I put A. I think this guy is
Okay.
a little bitch. And I think he gives up. And he's like, let's die, people.
there
Let's
we
just
go.
give up.
Well, that's going to be a point for Ryan.
Woo!
He's cocky. He's a cocky guy.
Yep. In the oh,
That's what happens when you don't draw a little house.
Sarah was just like, oh, there.
God, I really
Sarah
could
bad.
have used that point.
No, you'll be all right. Yes, Cheap figured the men would just establish an outpost right there on a random beach in the southern islands of Chile. One of the first things Cheap did was to read aloud the Articles of War and remind everyone that they apply on land as well as at sea. Basically, no one was allowed to mutiny on, quote, pain of death.
Yeah, that's gonna work when you say, "Don't mutiny me. Here's the rules."
I wouldn't even mention it.
I feel like the rules are gonna make people want to mutiny him.
Yeah.
With that, some of
Here
the
we go.
men built a housing unit with canvas from the sails used as curtains to divide the space
works.
up into separate cabins. As one of the men wrote, quote, "This is a rich house, and in some parts of the world would purchase a pretty estate. Considering where we are, we cannot desire a better habitation."
Wait, they like built like a legit house?
Sort of sounds like a makeshift sort of cabin out of canvas.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, did they have those
Well,
supplies already with them
it
on
is.
the boat, or did they scavenge on the island to build this thing?
I mean,
I'm
I hope
sure
they
it's a
scavenge,
combination
but
of both,
still.
but
pretty cool.
I guess
I think
they
the
went to the
natives,
boat and
but
got
oh,
the
boy.
sails to use for tent
I gotta admit.
material.
Would you be confident in your shelter building capabilities?
I'm not very strong.
Oh, boy.
I don't know if you could tell.
You look strong, Sarah.
Thank you. I'm strong of will. How about you?
I'd dig a hole and then use that as like the foundation and then build some sort of
So
perimeter
you know what?
around.
Digging a hole uses a lot of energy.
Yeah.
That's
you're
true.
burning
Yeah,
those
we'll see,
canals,
we'll see.
bro.
But if you're going vertical, you have to be very confident about like how high you can go with the supplies.
Digging is hard. I don't know. I think I'd do like definitely a triangle situation, and then I would really just insulate the shit out of it, and I would also have a little beaver in there to be friends with.
If you could convince a legion of beavers to build it for you, that's the best case scenario.
That's,
Yeah.
So if you have like a little flute, or
yeah,
a little
just-
like
Like an Oompa Loompa flute that would summon the...
I think I'd probably just crawl into a little hole and sleep like a little bunny rabbit.
well, you could do that.
Yeah, I can.
And I'm guessing, given your past history on this show, Sarah, you'd have the beaver build your house and then you would eat it.
Oh yeah, true.
Because
Yeah, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do out there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Thanks for the house.
here comes
Yeah,
the
thanks for
fork.
the.
you gotta do what you gotta do.
Within short order,
Oh,
there
here we
were
go.
18 houses, a street running down the middle of town, a hospital tent, and fires burning 24 hours a day. They caught rainwater with empty barrels, and since the Wager's bell had washed ashore, they used it to call out mealtime. Oh.
Yeah, we get it.
Books that had been salvaged and started naming the geography around them. The body of water they were on was dubbed Cheap's Bay. The
Okay.
mountain that overlooked the village was anointed Mount Misery. And as for their home itself, Wager Island.
Wow, they built a little Los Alamos
wait, try it.
situation there. That's kind of cool.
Nice.
It's so funny because like
let's
they
just
come
hope
from
the
a place
other
of
world-
structure,
like
a
the outside
society of
world
structure,
figures
and
out where they
immediately
are,
like, we need the
because
same
eventually
structure.
We need a
it's gonna
dinner
be a
bell.
while.
Yeah, we need a town.
Also, you said there was a canoe of natives that came by.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
stopped
yeah,
by and got some sheep from them.
Wait, so they were just chill with like, yeah, just build on our beach, fuck it?
It seems like maybe it was not a very hospitable island, so...
Oh, I see. They're like, you want to build there?
Yeah, you do you, man. Go ahead.
It didn't take long, however, for the beach to be picked clean of shellfish and for the supplies from the ship to
Yep,
start
there we go.
looking thin. Captain Cheap tried to ration the food, but as the men grew hungrier, thieves would break into the supply tent. Now, when you're stuck on an island, this is more than just robbery. It also clearly endangers the lives of everyone else. Paranoia began to set in. As one man, John Byron, wrote, quote,
Hey, John.
ill humor and discontent from the difficulties we labored under in procuring subsistence, and the little prospect there was of any amendment in our condition was now breaking out apace.
That's a long way to say this blows.
This sucks.
Pretty much.
There's really only one way that this usually goes.
Oh boy.
Eating each other?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
How long
Here
was it
comes
before
the
this
rain.
happened? Because you described a fair amount of infrastructure that they built. How long were they on this island before?
Right now, I think they've only been there for like a couple weeks.
That's a lot to do in a couple weeks. They
Yeah.
were
Well, they
busy
got nothing
boys.
else to do. Well, at this point, the crew was starting to question
Well,
their allegiance to Captain Cheap. For one, he wasn't the captain when they set off. For two, once in charge, he'd pretty quickly crashed the boat. And for three, there didn't seem to be much of a plan other than to hang out on the beach, which was becoming a problem as the food they were able to scrounge up was becoming rarer and worse. They were forced to mix seaweed with flour and fry it with tallow from a candle. They called it slaw cakes, and they friggin' gobbled them up.
That doesn't sound bad, honestly.
I don't know what a
really
towel
surprised
cake
by
or
their
slaw cake is.
ingenuity.
Me too. They're pretty
Yeah.
resourceful.
Yeah.
And that sounds legitimately good. I love seaweed.
And candles usually smell good. Sometimes I want to eat a little Yankee candle, you know?
What flavor? Does it
I
say
don't
flavor
think I want to
kills
eat
you?
that.
Gray flannel.
Grape. That's not a Yankee candle.
Wow, that came from the hip.
Shouldn't have said a candle we have at home because I know where it's from.
You have it home.
Oh.
As early as June 3rd,
Oh
less
boy, here we
than
go.
3 weeks after they crashed, a group hatched a plan to blow Captain Cheap and his hut up to kingdom come with a barrel of gunpowder. At the last minute, some of the men got cold feet and abandoned the plan, instead running off into the wilderness, hoping to start life anew with nothing. Upon discovering that there really was nowhere to go, the cowards set up another camp a few miles away. Even amongst those still with Captain Cheap's
boy.
camp, competing philosophies were developing. Those remaining loyal to Captain Cheap, and
More to
those
the points
liking
now.
what this other guy, John Bulkley, was saying.
Hey, John
Unlike
Bulkley.
Cheap, Bulkley was trying to figure out a way to get everyone back to England. Bulkley's plan was to modify some of the small boats they still had to fit more men and make a go at traveling back through the Strait of Magellan.
Yeah.
You like
sure.
this?
That's a good
I
plan.
mean, it sounds
fair,
good to me.
but
I couldn't think
how
of anything
were you
better
able to do
besides,
that with
like,
a
I don't know,
island
catching
like
the
that?
fin of a dolphin and
Right.
Like
using
riding,
the power of friendship to steer him
Yeah.
to England.
Yeah.
But
riding a dolphin.
there's no dolphins in this water.
Going back the way you came, that seems smart.
The men tried to persuade the captain of Bulkley's plan, but Cheap wouldn't hear it. Cheap, being a new captain, feared that if he fully abandoned his charge and went back to England, he'd be shot for cowardice. Instead of going south, back through the Strait of Magellan, Cheap wanted to go north and meet back up with the rest of the squadron. Still, it didn't seem like he was working too quickly toward that goal. They were languishing on the beach, and men kept dying. It's hard to obey orders when they boil down to hang out and wait for death.
It really puts.
Yeah, honestly, I think I'd rather take my chances with Buckley at that point, because, well, Cheap ain't doing anything, so I would have been like, you know what? This is great, I'm not gonna get home, so Buckley, wait for me! You know, that kind of deal? I don't know. What would you guys do? Would you hang out Cheap or Buckley? Me? I'm starting to feel like Buckley's the right way to go. Though something tells me none of them are going to be able to get out of here alive. I don't know. Anyone else feel like that's what's going to happen?
Things into perspective, because like sometimes I'm stressed about like getting work done.
Yeah.
But at least I'm not worried about being shot when I go back home for cowardice.
That's true. Laying on
Fair,
the beach,
but
pretty sweet though. Could you really blame him? He probably had a nice book, a blanket, getting some rays.
Yeah, starving.
Yeah.
Well, that part not
Starving,
as good.
living
Yeah,
in
less
fear.
starving.
But getting a sweet tan.
Sweet tan.
Yeah, I'm sure he was really tan.
Now, if the men went with Bulkley's plan without the captain, however, well, that's mutiny, baby, and grounds for death if they ever got back to England. Bulkley thought the king might have some mercy on a group of men shipwrecked at the edge of the world, but to be honest, no one could be sure. Some claimed that legally the captain no longer had authority over the men since their ship was gone and they were technically unemployed.
Oh, loophole.
Yeah, they're kind
Hey,
of damned
fair,
if they do,
since
damned if
they're
they
not
don't,
on
'cause if they
sea
go back to
anymore.
England, they might be like,
the
that's
ship.
mutiny, you'll die for that. Tensions kept
Oh, boy.
building, and some of the men began openly disrespecting Captain Cheap's authority. One midshipman by the name of Cousins was being particularly rebellious. 27 days after the shipwreck, Cousins approached the purser to ask why a buddy of his had his allowance suspended. In the conversation, Cousins mentioned mutiny. The purser aimed his gun at Cousins' head and fired, but missed. Hearing the commotion, Captain Cheap stormed out of his tent. Someone said Cousins was there to start a mutiny, at which point Captain Cheap put his gun against Cousins' cheek and fired.
Oh, okay.
What
Here we go.
happened to Cousins?
Oh,
A,
boy.
weren't you paying attention? His head got exploded. B, the gun didn't have bullets, so he survived and was a model castaway. Or C, he died an agonizing death over the course of 2 weeks. You guys ever shoot anybody in the head?
Okay.
Not yet.
I don't think we're going to go B,
No.
C again,
Good.
so...
Okay, Ryan, what do you got?
B?
Nice and slow.
Nice and slow, yeah.
Like the Green Goblin.
Sure. Would have been like,
And Sarah?
I also
B.
did
They ran out.
nice and slow.
Sea dogs.
You know.
Sea dogs.
Yeah.
We're gonna see this all brought to life.
Okay,
Thrilling,
let's see. Will he run out of bullets or just die? Let's see.
Dramaturgically.
I love the theater.
Hey, mutiny, maybe. Listen, I'm just tossing ideas out. No wrong answers during a brainstorm.
Uh-oh, speaking of which...
Look at the hips on that guy.
Who dares question my authority? Oh, well, look who it is, Captain Cheap. Oh, what are you gonna do? Shoot me? Bang! Oh! That should send a message to everyone about stirring up trouble. Oh my God! You shot me! Holy
Wait.
moly! You're still alive.
How?
I mean, obviously. Now send the surgeon over here to help dig this bullet out of my skull.
Oh. So what's it?
No.
God damn it.
Oh,
Nasty.
oh boy. I reckon I've got a tough couple weeks ahead of me. Oh.
I'm so proud of us for getting that right.
Also, I love
Shoot.
how he said you shot me like Will
I
Ferrell.
don't know. I was expecting him to just run out of bullets. It was like a Snowpiercer situation,
Oh my
but
God.
oh boy.
You ever been shot before?
Yeah.
I don't mind.
Was it John Wilkes Booth? He thought you were Lincoln.
Easy to mix
You
up.
were standing next to him in the booth.
Wow, points for both of you. Hey, all right.
Oh well,
Nice.
that happens.
Yeah, the surgeon was forbidden from immediately attending to Cousins, and the poor
Oy.
wretch didn't die until 2 weeks later. At this point, 45 men had died, and 7 had deserted into the wilderness, leaving 100 men on the beach. Almost all of them pretty upset at their so-called captain for now shooting one of his guys in the face and then denying him medical attention. Not a way to win fans.
I
Whoops.
guess I thought there was like
Like, that
20
that
dudes
happened,
here.
I would be
There's
like,
100.
I'm pissed, I'm out of here. Ooh.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah, I'm
Aye,
confused.
aye.
I thought you said the ship was going with like 14 dudes.
There were 12 men manning the ship during the storm, because most of the others were incapacitated or sick. Or
Yeah, they were.
Oh,
they were
scurvy,
underneath.
scurvy, right,
99
right.
guys versus one guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Odds
You
are in
gotta
your
get
favor.
him. You gotta get him.
There's
And
that
over the
mutiny.
next few
Okay.
months, that's right, months, things settled into a frustrating stasis. Poor weather, this being the southern hemisphere's winter, lashed the outpost. The men worked on making their small boats bigger, and when the grumbling amongst the crew would start to crescendo, Captain Cheap would tell them he was considering sailing back to England and up the alcohol rations, thereby cooling temperatures just a bit. By September,
Yeah, but that ain't
as
gonna last
Bulkley
long.
wrote, they were eating, quote, dogs, rats, and, in short, everything we can come at. These smaller boats were now being sent south to explore and plan a route back to the Strait of Magellan with or without the captain. Well, that sounds rough, huh?
Doesn't sound ideal.
No.
Now, again, I do think that this is heading toward eating people. I feel like once you start cracking into the animals that aren't normally eaten,
Yeah.
it's a slippery slope.
Yep.
At the beginning of October, the men tried to convince Captain Cheap to sail back south, but he still refused. With the
Seriously?
decision down to probably dying on the way back to England, where you'd maybe be hanged for mutiny, or definitely dying sitting on a Chilean beach, it was finally time for a good and proper
Mutiny!
led by Bulkley.
Oh,
Men
okay.
tied up Captain Cheap and told him that they were taking him back to England for trial for shooting cousins. Cheap said he'd rather be shot than taken as a prisoner, and the men agreed to leave him on the island.
Well, if it's between getting hanged when you go home or dying laying on a beach,
You go for the beach?
I think I'm going with the beach.
Vibes.
Yeah, who knows?
Vibes, die vibing.
But hey,
Yeah. Also,
they want to
it
leave,
feels
go
like
ahead.
dying back there is probably better than like be a coward, bring shame upon your family, etc., etc.
But if they do it right, they knock him over the head with a rock. They could bring his body on the boat, make it like formal, wrap him in like a fucking like English flag or something, and be like, "Oh, he tripped."
Yeah.
They're not gonna like
Yeah.
examine his head wound and be like, "They clearly just killed him."
He tripped and fell on a knife.
Exactly. And now you go back, they're like, "You didn't mutiny. You took care of your captain.
Yeah,
You wrapped him in a
yeah,
flag. Look
yeah.
how cute he looks. He looks like a little burrito."
Yeah. On October 12th,
Well, let's see how this goes.
151 days after the wreck, the 90 or so mutineers set off in a modified longboat, dubbed the
Speedwell.
and two smaller boats. Back on Wager Island, Captain Cheap and about 10 others watched them leave, keeping for themselves only a small boat and some meager provisions. Shortly after leaving
Let's see.
Wager Island, the mutineers realized they'd left some supplies that they could really use. So they sent a group of 9 men on a small barge back to the island to get it.
Oh, boy.
But the barge never returned. Eventually, the longboat turned around and sailed back to Wager Island.
What the hell? None
So
of
they
you dudes
only
should be
left,
out there.
and now
None
they're
of
coming
you
back
dudes
for
know
like,
what they're
we
doing.
forgot
No.
the supplies.
That
Oops.
really ruins a dramatic
Like-
exit. That's like breaking
Yeah,
up with
you're like-
someone and then coming back and being like, "Forgot my keys."
What
Oh.
did they find?
Here we go.
A, nothing. They had no idea what in the hell happened. B, Cheap had murdered them all. Or C, they wrecked the barge and were waiting for the longboat to pick them up. A lot of twists and turns in this story, huh?
Life was a
I
lot
don't
more
know.
exciting.
No one
back
cheap
then.
and all.
I guess that's one way to think about it, yeah. Brian, what do you got?
During his track record, B. Bye-bye.
Everybody.
Bye,
Sarah,
Cheap.
how about you?
I'm saying B, murder.
B-boys, basketball, etc.
Dribble,
Well,
Yep.
we'll find out via the magic of theater. I'll be back in a second.
All right, bye.
God, I love the theater so much.
Oh, well, you've really done it this time, Cheap. You've driven away the only friends you ever had, and... Oh, oi, Captain! We're back! We were supposed to pick up some extra sails or something, but...
Oh,
a few
here we
of us
go.
got to talking,
Let's
and
see.
honestly, sailing back through the Strait of Magellan on that rickety longboat started to look like a bad idea. So, we want to stay with you now. How wonderful, how very wonderful. In that case, prepare to set sail. We're fulfilling our mission and meeting back up with the other British folks someplace north of here. I have no idea where they are. Okay.
Wait, really?
What a bunch of losers. Pick a lane. Oh, back. Oh, shit.
This
Wait,
is
what
a
the
Wild
hell?
Goose Chase for real.
What did I miss?
Oh my God, we've been waiting for so long. Where the heck are you? Guys? Hello? Huh. Well, I guess we'll just sail to Brazil. What a mystery.
Wait, it was it?
What the fuck is happening?
What just happened?
Is there more?
Huh?
Okay.
Never mind.
Okay.
Hey, I
They're
was like,
hapless
there
students
more.
all the time.
So they
Yeah,
all
like,
just
no
disappear.
direction. They
Like,
just go with the
They're-
How
most
about rolling
recent
it?
thing that was
Okay.
said to them. Eat your foot. All right.
I guess
what
so.
the hell?
Whoa, points to neither of you.
That's fine.
Oh, hey,
Well, that was a crazy one, huh? Yeah, basically, the 9 folks who hopped on the barge to go and get more supplies had gotten some pretty cold feet when they actually set sail. They figured they'd rather rejoin Captain Cheap than try to get to Brazil in their rickety little boat. Cheap, now with a crew he felt he could trust, decided to charge north in their 2 tiny boats to try and rejoin the British squadron, wherever the hell they happened to be. For 3 months, Cheap and his men tried to get north, but never made much progress, sailing more or less on the door that Rose ends up on at the end of Titanic. Eventually, they returned to that home away from home, Wager Island. There were only 14 men left, and death wasn't going to be long in finding those last survivors. Meanwhile, after shrugging off the loss of the barge and 9 men, the Speedwell set off for Rio. The trip was, in a word, shitty.
Whoa.
People kept dying or being abandoned on shore to die until finally, on January 28,
they made it?
1742, 15 weeks after leaving Wager Island, the Speedwell spotted the Rio Grande. That is the Brazilian Rio Grande, not the Texas Rio Grande. Of the 90 who had set off, only 30 were left. Now, from here, the story involves a lot of waiting in port towns, basically thumbing for a ride back home. Finally, on New Year's Day, 1743, 10 mutineers landed at Spithead, England, more than 2 years after leaving. Imagine how good that must have felt.
What happened to the other 20? They were like, Rio rules. I'm gonna stay here.
Some actually did stay.
Yeah, no shit.
no
I'd be like, this
kidding. I
place
could see
kicks
that.
ass.
Yeah.
Look at all the beach volleyball.
Now, unfortunately for these hard-scrabble survivors, they still weren't technically safe. They were, after all, admitted mutineers. After some consideration, the Admiralty decided to delay any court-martials until after Commodore George Anson returned. In the meantime, many of the survivors actually re-entered sailing professions, I guess realizing it was the only job they knew how to do. Bulkley and the carpenter, Cummins, wrote a
God.
book about their journey, though when it was published, many readers believed Bulkley should probably be hanged. In 1744, Anson returned, likely having spent the last few years wondering what the heck happened to his supply ship. Anson decided it didn't really make any sense to hold a trial until Cheap returned. Bulkley must have laughed to himself. Sure, we'll wait until Captain Cheap gets back. Good idea.
Well, he doesn't really have great ideas himself. As a general rule of thumb, if you commit a crime, probably don't write a book
Don't
about
write a
it.
book about
Yeah,
it.
Kind of
whoops.
whole O.J. Simpson. If I did it, this is how I would
Yeah,
do
pretty
it.
much.
Kind of thing.
Make a pretty penny back then however you can, I suppose.
Also makes sense now why those folks chilled in Rio. Don't have to
Yeah.
do the whole answering for mutiny thing.
Something tells me the Cheap's gonna show up.
I mean, you never know with that guy.
Ain't that like cheap?
Bulkley took a job as command of a 40-gun privateer named the Sapphire, where his skilled seamanship repaired the damage his own book had done to his reputation. He knew if he kept it up, it wouldn't be long before the Admiralty handed him the coveted role commanding a Royal Navy ship. Then, on April 9th, 1745, 464 days after Bulkley returned as a disgraced mutineer, Captain David motherfucking Cheap arrived in England. That's right, Rose.
What?
You finally have
Cheap
proof
back?
ghosts are real because David Cheap, left for dead on a beach at the edge of oblivion, was back, bitch.
How?
How the hell are they alive?
do that?
Maybe he was a good captain.
The
I think
hell?
he could get back.
Yeah.
He did
What
crash his
happened?
ship immediately.
Yeah, a lot of people died. Yeah.
But that was like par for the par for the course.
What?
Everyone makes
Everyone was
mistakes.
dying on
Yeah,
ships
yeah.
all the time back then.
Oh boy.
I think we're all asking the same question here.
Yep. Here we go.
How? A.
Yeah.
Native people led his men on a 4-month hike north to
Oh,
a
boy.
small Spanish settlement. B. They were stuck in South America for another 2.5 years before convincing a French ship to take them to Europe. Or C. They hitched a ride on a Dutch ship bound for England.
Oh, these all sound.
Why
This
are
is
they,
tough.
you need to give us like
So a
one
hike?
gimme? That sounds crazy.
Dutch
I don't
ship
do gimmies.
or the French?
They're actually hard questions.
Cool. Locking it in.
Oh, you
know what,
guys
yeah.
are locked in. Right,
Wait,
yeah.
I'm not locked in.
The
Oh,
French
sorry,
ship
Sarah.
for me.
I'm changing it at the 11th hour. Okay.
C, the Flying Dutchman.
Flying Dutchman. And
Okay.
Sara,
I also said sea Dutch.
see,
And again, another sea dogs.
That's why you changed it. You knew we'd be doing some
Okay,
sea
let's
dogs.
see. What do we got? What do we got?
Right.
Well, I think we've all been through enough here, so points to everyone. As
Hooray.
all
Wait.
of those steps, plus many, many more,
What?
were
Wait.
what Cheap
What,
had to
on
endure
Odyssey?
to get home.
That's crazy.
Damn.
Wait, all of that?
Wait,
Okay.
all?
So like one happened after the other?
Natives led his men on a 4-month hike north to a small Spanish settlement.
Okay.
They were stuck in South America for another 2.5 years before convincing a French ship to take them to Europe, and then they hitched a ride on a Dutch ship bound for England.
How many of the original crew?
How the
You're gonna
hell?
love this. By the time his gang landed in England, only Cheap and 2 others were still alive.
So 3?
Alive they were.
Holy shit.
Jeez.
With how many people are dying, you gotta be like shitting your pants, like being like, am I gonna die in like a
That's
couple
true.
days?
Yeah, that's a lot.
To
Holy
be one of
shit.
those last guys, like, it's very lucky.
With Cheap back, that mutiny court-martial could finally happen. Bulkley was, for good reason, suddenly very afraid for his neck.
Yeah, blame
Cheap,
him?
however, was under the impression that if he tried to get the mutineers punished, they would try to get him in trouble for shooting cousins in the face. It was mutually assured destruction, and both sides had been sitting on the edge of death for too long to really want that. Everyone decided to let bygones be bygones, not knowing that no matter what, the Admiralty had already decided that after the Wager wrecked, what happened on Wager Island stayed on Wager Island. Cheap received a promotion because of his fanatical loyalty, and everyone lived, if not happily ever after, then for a little bit longer.
What happened to Cheap after? Was he like decorated? Did he go back to
Eh,
captaining?
I
Probably
mean, a
not.
lot of them did go back to seafaring, you know.
Yeah, that
which
does sound
I guess,
about right.
Why not? You know, it can't get worse than that, I suppose.
The fact that they went through
You
all
seen
of
the worst
that,
of the
we're like,
worst?
let's go
There's
again.
only way what
Let's
up.
get
It's
back
like in
there.
Twisters.
Huh?
When you have something tragic happen to you with a
Right.
twister, you go back and you
Yeah.
chase it again.
Yeah.
Face your fear.
Face
Yeah.
your fear.
Makes
Ride
sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ride it.
That's what I do in Ghost
Okay,
Fights every
okay.
season.
Yeah.
I write it.
What have you drawn there? Is that the professor?
I
Or
don't know.
Eugene Levy?
What did you draw?
I don't even know what I drew here. It's just like a little guy. Look at the
guy.
expression on his face.
He's like, ooh.
That's him riding a jet ski.
He looks like a 90s comic strip character.
Yeah.
Like
Hey.
an alternative, like, Bush is bad.
You know,
I hate Bush. That's what he
At
says.
8 the bullshit.
That concludes our history lesson.
Only 2.
But only because of time limitations. There was an entire other group of Wager mutineers who were abandoned by Bulkley who also managed to find their way back to England. The story
Wow.
is very big and sprawling, and the good folks at your local library can help you learn more about this
Yep.
or anything. But at some point, we got to tally up these points. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go vibe with the tallies to see who wins
right,
the
have fun.
coveted capsules and title of History Wizard. In the meantime, enjoy the musical stylings of the wreck of the Wager. Wow.
Oh, the Wager
I'll be
itself?
back.
Alright.
Whoa.
so now look at this. He's got some
There you go.
shoes.
Let me see. This is great. He looks like a Mr. Men.
He looks like somebody that Super Mario would fight in the early stages
Yeah, the
of the video
Goomba.
game.
Fuck.
We need this guy on a t-shirt ASAP.
Oh, there it is.
Wow, look at
Hey,
that.
Wag. Hey, Wager, how you doing? Alright.
Like skeleton on the hole.
The detail on him is beautiful.
The shipping sails to the west.
Alright.
Gonna prove to the rest of the world that England fights with the best.
Alright.
Hot crew, hot sea,
sea.
around the globe with Captain David Cheap. We've got the stuff, take 100 hurricanes to call our bluff. And the wind starts picking it up. Captain with his memory in his eye. Grab the wings and that's the moment that I finally realized the captain.
Better boats.
We got a problem. He don't know nautical stuff. What the hell was this guy ever thinking? What the hell was this guy ever thinking? The captain, badass boats. I can't believe this. I'm laying smack on the rocks. I'm a possible verge of sinking. The surf's up. Dreadful tide.
Okay.
Crew stranded, but they're trying the best. Except for all the ones who died.
Alright.
Hot blood,
Hot blood.
long nights,
Can't stop there.
eating seagulls and they're getting in fights. We might be fucked, trying to keep our chin up, but we're running out of luck. And the tension started ratcheting up. Temple one guy got shot in the dome. I'm not too certain I'd have taken this trip. If from the start of it I only would have known.
I would agree.
Badass folks, and also everything. We're gonna ride on this beach. I really think that someone should kill him. Really think that someone should kill him. We all got a mutiny against Captain David Cheap. Drag us halfway around the world. Damn us all to the bloody beach. I'm wrecked in the bay. Can't believe I didn't check his resume. He don't die. That stuff took a single hurricane to call his love.
Oh,
Very
that
much.
was an abrupt ending. Holy shit.
Beautiful.
Very good.
I like the implication that the boat hired the captain.
Yeah.
Whoa! Wow!
Oh,
What a
hey,
performance!
Professor, welcome
That was
back.
Really something. Hey, you guys are never gonna believe this, but according to our very simple tally,
Sarah?
today's winner is Sara Rubin.
Yeah, called it.
But does winning a silly competition compare to the thrilling tranquility that you feel with the once daily brain pill? Forget it all. Come get your
Hello.
prizes, folks. Yes. Free
yeah.
pills. Forget it all. Just do it. Don't eat those. Okay, that's gonna do it for this one. Sarah, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. Ryan, thanks for being a friend. And for all you folks at home, thanks for watching Puppet History, where the details are always a little fuzzy.
See ya.
Well, now it's the
Okay.
waiting game.
What about like a sack of apples or something?
Yeah, he's
You know,
got to
lure
show
him
up
in.
sooner or later. I don't.
Where is he?
Bag of horseshoes.
I don't.
Whoop.
What the?
Fellas! I just saw that no good, dirty, rotten Elmer Walter Williams.
Wait, where?
He's in the retirement room with a briefcase full of cash. He must know the heat's turning up, and he's trying to escape to retirement with your moolah.
Wait, what?
You thinking what I'm thinking?
Get him?
It's time to drown a horse. Ryan, grab that hose. Dr. Spratt, when you hear us holler, give that molasses valve a crank and we'll send that cloppity asshole to sweet mucky hell. That's right.
Right, let's go!
It's time to kill a horse. Mr. Ed, die!
Yahoo!
Godspeed.
There it is. Retirement. You ready? Wait. What?
Well, you unsaddled fuck. We know you caught. Don't pet me.
Sorry. Habit.
We know you killed Shane in the street like a filthy dog. And now we caught you with a bunch of money. The jig is up.
Any last words before we molass your ass? Oh, you waiting for your lawyer? We got attorney's hose full of molasses Esquire on retainer.
That's right. Dr. Spratt, give us the juice.
Huh?
Whoa.
What the? Huh? Wait a minute.
Wait.
Shit.
You stupid idiots! Don't you see? He's a puppet.
Yeah, we know he's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know that.
No, he's an actual lifeless puppet. I bought it at a store for children. I've been controlling him this entire time.
You've been what? A puppet? Controlling
What, a
another
puppet?
puppet?
Ugh. Don't puke on me.
I calculated all the angles perfectly. Of course. Was there ever any doubt?
I had my doubts.
Shut up, you!
The screwy puppet's off his rocker.
Maybe, or maybe no one in the universe is my mental equal. So yes, my brain's a little more divided than average, but that's a tangent.
Shut up.
Those math terms. Hoagie Sprat.
Why, I do think the professor has finally done the math.
Rearrange the letters in your Pratty Hagos.
Of course.
Who the hell is Pratty Hag? I'm Pythagoras, you simplified equations.
You were the only historical figure Shane's ghost never saw because you never died.
Because I am the only being smart enough to have uncovered the key to immortality through math. I'd tell you both, but you're too dumb to understand.
Maybe you could tell us a little bit so we
wanna-
can figure out the rest?
No. But what I can
Rude?
tell you is how your whole puppet history empire came crumbling down in the course of one season. As you of course remember, 2,500 years ago, some dick named Cylon tried to burn me and my cult followers up in a house fire. But being a genius, I managed to escape by moving in the opposite direction of said fire. I fled into the night and took shelter in a dank old cave, picking up my mathematical work where I left off. Soon, via the power of math, I determined the way to extend life indefinitely. Immortality is not really as complicated as you might think. Carry the one and death becomes mostly a skill issue.
Wow.
As the millennia ticked by and I traveled the world, every now and again I'd hear tell of another immortal being. A little blue nerd who had met pharaohs, seen Mount Vesuvius erupt, and spent a disproportionate amount of time in France. This was, of course, impossible. Only I had the mind to crack the code of immortality. I dismissed the rumors as ramblings of fools. Until a few years ago, while folding laundry and letting my YouTube algorithm drift, one day a little blue freak popped up onto my laptop screen, telling tales from the exact moments of history that I'd heard rumors about. I knew then, Professor, that you were my lifelong nemesis, dancing with me through the sands of time.
We never met you,
Turned
buddy.
out you weren't immortal, but instead a lucky idiot who stumbled upon a magical genie who granted your wish of becoming a historical time traveler, popping in and out of wherever the narrative juice was worth the squeeze. Even though you weren't immortal, you controlled legions of dedicated followers, people, real people. They were obsessed, just like my cult had been. It wasn't right. I was the genius. So I decided to take your show from you and install myself as the rightful leader and fount of all knowledge.
Wow.
Your show, it turns
Jealous
out,
much?
has a complicated succession plan in place. First, under the guise of Elmer Walter Williams, I murdered estranged producer Shane Madej in the streets like a dog. Meanwhile, I hooked you buffoons and much of the rest of the crew on drugs, so no one noticed as I knocked off every last name on that list and moved on to the most delicate part of my plan. Marrying Dorothy Ruth and
Why?
becoming her next of kin. R.I.P. to a real one. And that means once the two of you are taken care of, puppet history will be all mine. Legally. All it took was a little murder. And now, there's no one to stop me from branding it. Puppet mathematics.
You know that never fly.
Has a ring to it.
No, it doesn't.
Math. God, you are one sick son of a bitch.
Your bosses at the Department of Puppet Safety are gonna have your badge for this.
Guys, focus. There is no Department of Puppet Safety. I made it up. I made this all up. But don't feel bad for falling for it. I am history's greatest genius.
You keep history's good name out of your murdering mouth!
Hey, what do you think he meant when he said when we're taken care of?
And have we ever learned what the retirement room actually does?
It puts morons out of their misery. Be seeing you.
No, 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 no!
Delivery to Purgatory complete.
Along the dependent and independent variables. These may be interpreted as the ratio of differential change in the dependent variable y to the differential change in the independent variable x. Thanks for watching Puppet Mathematics. We'll see you next time. Smash that like button.
Whoa, this show sucks. Take it from me, I know my trash. Yeah, I'm that little rat from seasons 1 and 5 of Puppet History. I ate some rope, remember that? What else have I done? I don't know. Anyway, it seems like they're serial killing fuzzy little puppet guys like myself, but they forgot about me, so I'm here in the dumpster. But the new guy's been throwing out so much neat stuff that I thought I'd open a little commemorative puppet history exhibit in here. Sort of like the Museum of the Moving Image. Like check this out, a hat. And I don't know what those letters are, because rats can't read. And then, I don't know what this is.
Genies.
And then over here. God, jeez, it's so dark in here. Oh, you know what? They tossed out a leaky old generator. Let me plug it in and get this light going. And, it doesn't seem to be working. What?
Wait, generator?
What's going on here?
Uh-oh.
What the heck is that?
Wait. Uh-oh. Shouldn't we be worried? Like, I know that box. That's the fake professor. So, at this rate, I think we're gonna need all the help we can get against Pythagoras. Did not expect that, so... Yikes. I guess Season 8's about to have that guy back. So, does that mean Pythagoras is gonna be the Ron Bagara of the series now? You know, so close to winning yet falling behind? I feel like that would be a torture. I don't know. What do you guys think is gonna happen? Guess we'll have to wait and see. Till then, see ya!